All right, Amrit, we're live now. So, hello everyone. I'm Nishant Puri, and welcome to the fifth podcast of the PEC ACM Student Chapter's ongoing series, Talking Tech with PEC ACM. This is our podcast series where we bring in people from all over who have done remarkable work in their fields, and they share our journey with us, and we aspire to learn a lot of things from them. So, our guest for today is Amrit Preet Singh. Now, Amrit Preet Singh is fourth year CSC undergrad at PEC Chandigarh. He is the chairperson of our very own PEC ACM Student Chapter, and well, it's an honor to be interviewing the person who has done and is doing so much for the student chapter of ours. So, welcome, Amrit. Amrit has been a data science intern at AWS Foundation and was an SDE intern at AWS Germany. He will soon be joining AWS Germany as a software development engineer. Amrit also holds the position of being a member of one of the best ranked team from our college and reached the national level in ICPC 2019. He also won the IEEE Delhi section hackathon and was the first student recommended for by PEC for semester exchange at IIIT Hyderabad. Amrit specializes in computer vision, deep learning research, and well, AI for medical discoveries. So, Amrit, it's a really honor to be interviewing you here. And well, you have a rich profile. So, and you've done so much as a chairperson as well, which naturally prompts this question: like, how and when did Amrit Preet Singh start?
Oh man. Okay. First of all, thank God we are done with the all those praises. Let's please do not please let me be grounded. Otherwise, I get too high. So thank you. Finally, we are doing this. My very own talking tech. So the journey started right up, just like many of the freshers who are going through it right now, joining PEC, then studying courses. In the first year, it was more just academics for me at least. That helped me build my CG, which gave me the leeway to try out new things in second year. And by the end of first year, the fundamental base for computer science was built, on which I was able to pursue fields, the upcoming fields, online courses uh, of my choice, and the ones which excited me the most. So, and then in second year, after building some skills, I simply natural progression was to apply for some role, which I got in a local startup in Chandigarh, AWS Foundation. I did data science intern. After that, AWS Germany happened, and now we are here. And as far as PEC ACM is concerned, I joined the society right when it was officiated, about in the later half of the first semester. And I was just a normal member in the first year. In second year, I started organizing events. In the third year, elections happened, and I was chosen as the chairperson, for which I'm grateful for. And you said that I'm doing so much for PKCM. We are still far away from our mission. I hope to accelerate our progress as soon as possible. And let's see what 2021 has in house for us. It's been a wild year, this 2020.
Definitely, and under your guidance, ASM is definitely will definitely soar to greater heights. So, Amrit, now the fields of your specialty, NLP and AI for medical discoveries, are quite novel and interesting, frankly. And well, you are very much interested in quantum for machine learning. Uh, so, what is it that drew you towards ML and AI in the first place, and how did you perhaps transition into these specialized fields or generate interest for new novel fields?
I see. So it all started right in the second semester, at least for me. I subscribed to some email newsletters, which were, and subscribed to some YouTube channels, which made videos regarding what's happening in tech right now. So through those, I got to know the buzzwords. After buzzwords, I went on to Coursera and edX, and then search for those courses. So firstly, what I would do is I would enroll in a course and audit the course, not obviously not pay the fee, just audit the course, and then of different areas in computer science. And then after about 2 to 3 weeks of doing the course assignments and watching the lecture videos, uh, I would have a pretty good sense that if I would like to pursue this or not. So firstly, I did breadth first search, and then I pushed hard on something that worked for me. Actually, I remember right in second semester, I don't know if Coursera, if it has that thing right now or not. In fact, PEC also had Coursera memberships, and where we could enroll in various courses till July 30, I remember, right? So all the freshers listening, there's something growing up regarding that sense as well. So in the future, you can expect something like that, right? As well. And if you want some online course, you can always reach out to your professors that I want to do this course and work out how it can be integrated with the PEC curriculum. I can assure you that. At least for the I know about CSE faculty members, they are quite open to exploring different online courses and how they integrate with our own curriculum. So I remember during those Coursera days, it was I would first audit the course, which will via which I will watch all the videos. But I wanted this certificate. Without certificate, there's no proof that you did something. So I would apply for financial aid, which would come about 15 days later. And after 15 days later, when the financial aid came, uh, and Coursera financial aid success ratio, at least in my time, about 3 years ago, was above 90%. More than 90% of my friends who actually wrote the 400 words essay for the financial aid got the financial aid in Coursera, and then they were able to secure the certificates as well. So I would watch the videos beforehand. When financial aid came, I would simply go and do the assignments, and the course was done in about 1 to 2 days only. So uh, that still remember those days. Those were the most productive days of my life, apart from my AWS internship. Yeah, because and I reminiscent over those days, and right now I'm the laziest in my laziest phase of my life, and I want to turn that around.
Yet you're still making strides with ACM Student Chapter, so that is still great. And this thing regarding courses is pretty inspiring. Just as you talked about courses, Amrit, just tell us as to what was that point of interest? Where did you find, as in, at what point did you realize that ML and AI is something that you'd want to pursue as going forward, being a data science intern and later on pursuing it as a career option? So, what was that point?
Yeah, I remember exactly that point. That it was in fourth semester. Uh, I was an executive body member of PEC ACM, and I had done the deep learning specialization by then. And then at that point, I organized a workshop for deep learning. We publicized it out, and it was of that year. It was the most attended workshop. It was not virtual like uh, this year, like these times, but uh, many students from different colleges of Tri City joined in. So at that time, I knew that I had a skill which at least students were looking forward to and which I could build upon. So at that time, I doubled down on it and applied to various different roles open on LinkedIn. So as I think you also remember, we all the new joinees of PEC ACM, we have asked them to create a LinkedIn account, and then if they want, they can add PEC ACM as PEC ACM member as an experience. That will make you part of our organization, and all the seniors are attached to that LinkedIn page as well, and that networking helps a lot. So I started pinging people for during the end of semester fourth, about 2 weeks before the end-term exams for open roles. Uh, got rejected almost all the time, but just one Chandigarh local startup. I gave the interviews, and the person knew the head of that CEO of that startup knew one of the professors at PEC, and he called that professor and got my profile, got my information from that professor. The professor recommended me, and hence I got that internship.
That's amazing. So, along with your skills, you'd like to emphasize as we go on with this podcast, you'd like to emphasize on the importance of networking and
Yeah,
building a network, and that is a
lot.
pretty important thing.
Look, man, you are Microsoft student partner. I applied for it. I failed each and every time, and I see each and every year the uh, at least the people who I get to meet with regularly in even in PEC ACM activities are much better than at least I was in my time, and I really think the future is looking very shiny with you people in command.
Thank you so much. I mean, this
If
is
you, if you praise me, if you praise me, oh, I'll be praising you too.
that's really modest of you, Amrit. So, Amrit, you are the first student recommended by our college for semester exchange at Triple IT Hyderabad. So tell us something about it. And for the audience, yes, we can see the question in the chat, and we will be taking most of those at the end. So please keep asking a question in the chat. So we'll compile all of them in the end and ask them to Amrit. So continuing with my question, Amrit, what was it like to be the first student recommended by our college for semester exchange? How does the process work? How can one apply for it? And what was your experience like there? And what kind of exposure did you get there that added to your profile?
Right. So initially it was scary. It was scary, man. I got the email that my application has been accepted on 23rd of July. The semester was beginning in PEC on 27th of July, and they asked me to join in Triple IT Hyderabad on 26th of July. So I had just 2 days to pack my stuff up and move to Hyderabad or decline that offer and stay in PEC. Also, it was time of the internship companies. They were coming on to PEC. I sat in my Microsoft, which came to PEC, and I couldn't move forward the second round. I was rejected in second round. I had applied for Goldman Sachs, which was to come on 27th. But of course, if I go to Triple I Hyderabad, I will be missing out on the internships of the companies that come to PEC. So that was a risk that I had to evaluate. Fortunately, I had a tool at my disposal to evaluate risks, and that helped me to weigh in the pluses and minuses of this choice. And in the end, the thought process that made me go for that internship was that if in my life it'll only be these kinds of opportunities come only once, and if I miss out on it, I would be remembering it all across my life. And if on the other hand I could not get an internship on the companies that come to PEC, right, I would simply do a research internship at Triple IT Hyderabad. I'll get in touch with some professor while I'm over there, and then do a research internships. And Triple IT's labs, uh, they are something else. You enter the computer vision lab, for example, you are greeted by big CPUs, Threadrippers, Core i9s, having RGBs all across the thing. They are open 24 by 7, and people are working on it. And so that was first thing that in the initially it was risky, and then when I went there, for the first week, I got to know that I'll have to gear up my academics if I am to survive here. It was so tough. I think you guys had theory of computation in this semester, right?
Yeah.
So over there, one of the courses that I took in the moment because I wanted to study very hard. I accidentally took, I didn't know about them. I took all the 5 courses of core computer science, whereas even for triple IT students, for them, it's more like 2 computer science courses, one science course, then 2 humanities courses, or a project and a humanities course. So I took 4 credit courses, but then I realized after a week that I had to study the whole theory of computation course just to sit in the first lecture of one of the courses, which was uh, advanced computing and algorithms.
Oh,
So right, so I had about 3 days of time. I sat in the library and studied through the theory of computations book to get up to speed. And in the end, that was the course that I got the best grade in. And so as time moved on in Triple IT Hyderabad, I realized there are, of course, there are many differences, but most of them arise from us, the student community's internal motivation to work,
All right.
right? Even students over there, they, for example, lectures are mostly the similar. Professor comes in, they have a set agenda of the topics they want to cover. They cover it. But the real learning, at least for me, from my experience, happened in hostels. Happened when I talked to the seniors and the people who were doing the course along with me. We sat down and pondered over the assignment questions, and that was the best thing of triple IT for me. Also, by that time, I was in such a good mental space that I had. I started applying off campus to different internships, and fortunately, one of them worked out.
Wow, that is a really inspiring story, Amrit. Like going from taking a huge risk and then working so hard that you succeed at it later on. So I guess a lot of people who are watching this and later on watch this need to take this inspiration that you definitely need to work hard when you take risks like these.
I think
So
everybody works hard, man. No, don't you think?
yeah, for sure, I guess so. I mean, everyone should, and they should definitely take inspiration from you. Like the amount of hard work you put in going to triple IT Hyderabad, scoring on those
Yeah.
tests, getting great grades, and then we're getting an internship at AWS, which is actually a super dream, a dream for everyone. So that is something I guess our audience should actually take away from here. So Amrit, now going on with the series of questions. Now, formally, you've been a data science intern at AWS Foundation, and that is actually an off-campus internship there, and that too at just the end of your second year, as you said. So, going into a bit more detail, you did focus on off-campus internships, but now let's go into a bit more detail of off-campus internships. So, tell us something about your work there, and well, how did you secure that internship while you talk about off-campus internships in general?
Which one? The EduWave one or the
EduWave,
AWS?
EduWave,
Sorry, come again.
the EduWave Foundation internship.
Okay, the EduWave Foundation. All right. So that was mostly LinkedIn networking, right? I started applying by the end of second semester, sorry, fourth semester. And then for off-campus internships, if you guys are willing, the audience who are watching, I would say even if you are in first year, there are roles for first year at specifically in even in companies like which we call FANG, FAANG, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, right? They do have specific roles for first and second year, right? Start applying. After a while, of course, if you get in your first code, that's amazing. But I didn't, and after you keep on applying, keep on improving your profile. I think they also have a metric where they view a candidate's profile across different applications. And I think that's what helped me the most because by the time I was in Triple IT Hyderabad, I remember for Google interviews, uh, in I was straight away put to the interview rounds. The coding round was skipped for me because I had already given that coding round for it for the last year or so, 3 to 4 times, right? So off campus, keep an eye out on the listings. We also have a careers channel in our Slack workspace where we put the links, right? And I think many of the third year rights have applied for those internships, including some secondary rights as well. So if there are any freshers who are watching this, you will be receiving a link to that Slack workspace tonight, and which you can then join. You'll be automatically added to the careers channel. There you can browse through the history and see the various job postings. Uh, Also, let me as this is like off-campus thing, let me also remind that if someone decides to just uh, put all their weight on the on-campus thing, that is totally fine too, and that is, I would say, even easier and more has high probability of succeeding if you trust, if you have full faith on PEC, that and you are satiated by the internship opportunities that come to PEC. Even for me, I before I got the AWS offer, I had secured rubrics offer at PEC. The rubrics came to for the first time on PEC, and it was at that time the highest paying internship in PEC's history. So I was amongst the two who were selected for that internship. And so on campus, I would say that if you decide, if someone watching decides that I will be focusing on competitive coding and I can't handle all the logistics and the mental prowess and the uh, minutia of details and application tracking that is required for off campus, that is totally fine. You can focus on your building up your profile, and by the time companies come to PEC, you can sit in them and secure a position for internship, right? That's totally fine as well.
Pretty
Did I
good. I
again,
guess.
Nishant, am I answering your questions? Because I
Yeah, yeah,
think
pretty much. I
okay,
guess this stream, this own podcast is more informative than the questions I am asking because you are directly addressing the questions to to the juniors and to people who want to pursue internships as they go forward. So I guess as you go along with question and explain other things related to our college and our own curriculum, I guess that is even more informative. So
that's
good.
fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Then what
that's
happened?
good.
Thumb? Show me your thumb.
Yeah, okay. This, yeah, I just injured it. Okay. So, Amrit, moving on with the interview now. So, now, as you were talking about the whole concept of off-campus internships, just tell us something about your work there. Like, what was it like to work for EduWave, and how did it add to your own exposure, and how did it help you in gaining experience, perhaps?
Yes, right. Eduwave. So it was just around the corner in sector 30, sorry, 40, 43, 40, sorry, in sector 40. The office was in sector 40, so it was just a cycle ride away. And when I entered, I had no experience of corporate culture, right? I had no experience of software development, how product-based companies work. And when you get into a system like that, especially startup, the first thing that we learn is ownership. That at least for me, it was like they saw my profile, they had an investor, and the investor had an idea for a product that he wanted to be built, and I was made the owner of that idea. Regular meetings, I think if you have studied software engineering, you might know the agile software development process.
Yeah.
So regular meetings were there. So that agile software development process, I didn't know that it was agile. I We were doing all the agile activities for a month. After that, someone told me that this is called agile. So that was quite interesting. And uh, while working there, I would go at around 9. Will have the task that for the day that I had already made earlier during the end of the last day, that these are the things I wanted to do. Then I would do that, and then by 11 we would have Scrum meeting, which is a type of agile where the whole startup company's employees, which were at that time, uh, the startup was full of interns. We Out of the 20 members of the company, only three were full time. Rest everyone was interns from Thapar, from CCET, local people. Some even came from Hoshiarpur, and one guy was from Haryana. So this was we get to see many different work cultures and many different expectations that people came in. So in the Scrum meeting, everyone would be telling what they had done the previous day and what they plan on doing uh, and today or that day, right? After Scrum meeting, we would start our work, and the type of the learnings that came from that work was that it doesn't matter, or it matters more if I'm able to communicate my point, or communicate the work that I have done, instead of just doing it myself and then just pushing it to the repo and then telling no one about it, but because that goes waste. So this knowledge transfer thing, uh, this was the first lesson I learned. Second was the emphasis on those leadership principles, which came in handy a lot during my AWS internships. I really commend the Eduvay Foundation CEO, uh, Mr. Puneet Jindal. So if you even the people who are viewing this, you can go to my LinkedIn page. He's my connection. I'm sure he's hiring. He's always looking for young upcoming talent. So if you're second year right and uh, you want to have the summer internship, you can ping me. I will connect you to him, and we can work it out. So he was really the mentor that that brought me from bilkul uh, zero level to at least an idea of how a product based companies work. And Nishant, I think uh, based on my triple ID friends and PEC and at PEC who have gotten offers from at least for Amazon Europe, they all have had internships in a startup. Maybe
Oh,
it's a
okay.
factor. Maybe it's a factor. There are about six of us now, and we have all done an internship in a startup. So maybe it's a factor. I don't know, but that's a curious statistics. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so go
yeah.
on, go on, go on.
So if you are in first year and second year, please do not make the same mistakes that I did. Do not sit idle at your home during summer vacation, right? Where mother brings the food to your table, you eat it, and then just keep it away. Go out, find some work, and then build your profile, right?
Yeah, really amazing points given by Amrit here. So I guess as we have gone through this, there must be two really important parts that Amrit has focused on right now. One is good communication, and then there is networking. So establishing a good network. And Amrit hasn't even talked about his own skills yet. So I guess as we go on, Amrit will even emphasize even more on the importance of good networking and good communication with your peers and with your colleagues and with your employers. Am I right, Amrit?
Yes, yes, indeed. It's the difference between your team uh, recommending you for something or not. For an intern, after for when the decision for a offer is made, the whole team sits and they discuss the work that we did. I remember after my weekly meeting with my manager in AWS Germany, on the after second month, he told me that the teammates did not know what I was doing, right? So that thing I had to work on, and because that was affects big corporations and startups alike, communicating with your team.
All right, really important points here. So I guess people who will be going for internships soon,
Yeah,
in the coming months, they should gather this point that they
you
should
too.
keep communicating. Yeah, thank you for that. And now I know that.
I'm just
So,
off.
well, thank you, Amrit. So I guess this point is important that you need to keep communicating whatever you are doing so that
Yeah.
you can build that network and
And,
reputation.
and in product-based companies, especially for software development work, the best way of communicating, number one is code reviews. When you'll go there, you'll
Okay.
push a commit to your branch, and then when you'll be reviewing the code, the team will get to know because they will be the ones who will be reviewing. Every team has its own standard for code reviews. One or two ship-its. Ship-its mean that the code is okay to be merged into the main line, right? Number
Okay.
one is code review. That's how people got to know what you are working on and what have you done. Second are these scrum meetings, the
Okay.
regular weekly meetings based on the team dynamics. It all depends on your manager, how they process the workflow of your software development process, right? Some managers do it daily. For my AWS internship, my manager, he was more of a chill dude. He he did it weekly, and just he was focused more on ownership, that we will just, this is what you need to do, we will see it on weekly meeting what you have done,
All
These
right.
are the timelines, and we trust you that you will build it. And that trust comes from the fact that Amazon is quite uh, very stringent on people's hiring processes, on what things they look for in their hiring processes, which is why during ACM CSS interview, we ask those behavioral questions, because that's one of the major deciding factors, at least for product-based companies like Amazon and Google.
Definitely. And as ACA members, we try to imbibe the qualities we've learned from the companies we have interned in, that you have interned in, and then try to imbibe them in our own society to make it better, right?
Yeah, yeah. And just to be clear, when I look over here, this is my where my screen is, and when I talk, I face here because my camera is over here. So if you see me turning faces, it's not that I'm ignoring Nishant. I could never. It's because I'm looking at my screen.
Thank you so much, Amrit. I feel obliged. Thank you so much. Okay. So now, Amrit, now as we've talked about off-campus internships, I'm sure a lot of people have questions about this, and we'll take them up as we move forward with the
Yeah,
stream.
I have all the time.
All right. So now you've completed your tenure as an SDE intern at AWS Germany, and in fact, the amongst other amazing aspects, this part stands out the most. So now let's just start with the basics. How did you secure this internship?
So I started applying for Amazon Europe. So firstly, it was I was very transfixed on getting an internship in Europe, because that's where I always dreamed of going, at least for internships. So I started applying, I think in third semester. I started getting rejections. I think I also posted in our Slack workspace the rejection list from all the different companies that I had, when students were posting that they are not receiving the responses, right? So I started applying, getting rejected, working on different skills that are required. I would see that this time my resume got shortlisted when I included this skill of mine, which I had not done earlier, right? So
All right.
this is also the reason we emphasize in our careers group at ACM CSS to for the resumes to be screened by your seniors, right? Before you apply for that. That's why we do that, because sometimes experience comes in handy. So after keep applying, getting rejected. When I went to Triple IT, I remember it was just the switch flipped, and it said that my application is now under consideration, because I think they'll also be having certain criterias. Amazon Europe internship, that they'll only be taking third year, right? Perhaps their internal criteria, right? So when the time was right in third year, in fifth semester, I got the interview call. But I think if I had applied directly in the fifth semester only, I would not have gotten that, because I would not have had the experiences of failures that preceded those interview calls, right? So
All right.
yeah, so that was the process, quite standard process, I would say. And I also had to at least prepare for Amazon interviews myself. There, nobody I knew who had done that kind of interview before, right? There were some Amazon interns in Triple IT as well, and in PEC as well, but I did not have the network connection with them, right? So I had to prepare that myself. I remember my interview was around 3 p.m. on Friday, and in Triple IT, for a course you can only miss at maximum 4 lectures. Otherwise, they drop your grade by an amount.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so I had to take the 3 p.m. I studied competitive. I revised my competitive coding skills at least 2 weeks prior to that interview. Then a day before I stopped competitive, and then I devoted a day and a half to behavioral questions. And by it was interview was at 3 p.m. I remember I slept till 1 p.m., woke up fresh, went to mess, ate lunch, and then just gave the interviews. And I still remember during my first interview, there was a thunderstorm in Hyderabad, and it was the worst in a decade. So triple IT's internet went down, and then I had to use mobile cellular network to do the interview. And thankfully, the my interviewer was patient enough to wait for me to join back, for which I later thanked him and gave him a small treat when I joined in Dresden.
Oh, fantastic. Pretty
Yeah,
good. Yeah, I guess this is prompting even more questions from a chat regarding off-campus
man,
internships.
I saw the chat just now. There's so many questions.
Yeah, then there's a really good amount of interaction rate on the chat. So yeah, we'll be answering this after this question. We'll be answering some of them. So
Oh, and also, Nishant, we can do one thing. After this session, after our podcast is over, we can give them the meeting link, and if someone wants to ask, they can join directly jump in. I have no issues with that.
for sure, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Okay, we will definitely do that. So now what we moved on from this question, like how did you get this internship? So now we're on to this question: what was it like to be an AWS SD intern? What was the whole experience like?
Oh man, it's surreal. In one word, it's surreal. In a longer context, it's eye-opening, right? And especially uh, living on my own, being financially independent it's a different feeling altogether. I'm sure you will have it after your first salary comes in Microsoft, right? And then
Yes.
uh, then you travel. Europe is beautiful indeed, that's no question. Uh, as far as work is concerned, I got to witness the scale of Amazon right from within. So our team was I was in uh, if you go to Amazon, AWS, Amazon Web Services, you will see EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud, which is their virtual machine hosting service. It's the main cornerstone of Amazon Web Services. And I was in EC2 department, and my team worked on uh, kernels and hypervisors, right? And so we were, and kernels and hypervisors, as you know, are deep down in the tech stack. They
Yeah.
are quite at the low level, and so our work was quite generalizable and had huge impact, which was also
Mm,
the reason that my internship was a bit different to those of my friends. My Some of my triple IT friends who interned in Amazon Berlin, they had their software development internships, which were, you can call standard ones, that they had to develop a web tool or a website, right? For me, it was a bit different. I had to first go through and understand. I didn't write a single line of code for the first month in my internship. My manager was asking my mentor that what's happening. Does he even know how to code? But my mentor said no. Firstly, he needs to understand how systems work. So our team was comprised of seven people from four different continents. Two of them were system engineers. Three were software engineers. One was me, and the other was mentor. So the system engineers, they taught me how the different Amazon systems work and how the whole world is actually running. So I think you remember when AWS went down for a little while 2 months ago. Google went down for a little while, just 2 weeks or a week ago, and the whole
yeah.
world sort of was affected, right? So for the people who are watching, there's something called as SLA, Service Level Agreement, which you agree to your customers. So one advice I would give to all the interns who will be joining: just ask your manager for the product or for the work that we are doing, what are the SLAs, and they will tell you what are these SLAs for your team. And these SLAs are the agreements that you make to your customers, and they are the stamped things that you have to deliver. For example, an SLA would be that Amazon EC2 uh, Amazon EC2's downtime will be 0.0001%. That's a
Mm,
kind of an SLA, right? So our team, the work that I did had to ensure that all those SLAs are met, which was quite an eye-opening task, right? So now the benefit is that now when I join Amazon, I have a pretty clear idea of how different systems work and how different systems integrate because my internship was software development, but I had to do a lot of system integration as well, just because of the scale of Amazon. In Amazon internally, we they do have now there are about I think more than 1 million employees in Amazon.
Oh,
SDEs are I think around in 3 to 400,000. I may be wrong, but at my time it was the amount was uh, around that number. And when you have so many people, so many talented people, software engineers, they say that for any new thing that you want to do, someone must have attempted it before. Please go and search on the code base. So that was true for me as well. But of course, those things are many a times outdated, and then you have to refactor the code. So for you, for third year rights who will be joining the intern, I would say I hope you have had studied software engineering course quite with attentively. That will help you the most in your internships. Secondly, just ask doubts to your mentor, man. I remember my mentor telling me that I didn't ask much questions. So there's a feeling I think you will also have it that when you join a big corporation like Microsoft yourself, you will see that there's a kind of feeling that I don't want to waste other person's time and I should only do my work, right? And that leads to wastage of a lot of time. For me, at least, the rule of thumb was if I'm not able to find a bug, clear out a bug for 15 minutes, I'm going to my manager's table and asking him. For you, as the internship will be online, you will be facing many errors, and if it's 15 minutes you are not able to solve it, just go ask your mentor. And I would even recommend that you should set these communication strategies with your mentor and different team members, that what form of communication do they prefer. For example, some people they prefer face to face communication. My mentor always said that just call me and we will work it out. Some people prefer text-based communication, that they should you should message them and then they will reply on their own time, right? So it's a good exercise to establish those communication channels right when you join, and this will also show your professionalism, that yes, you have worked in a professional setup before where you respect other people's time as well.
oh, good
Did I answer
points.
your question, or was I only bantering across different topics? Because I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
you actually did. So again, I'll repeat what I said. You are actually answering a lot of questions. So your experience as an SD intern is, first of all, really motivating for a lot of people, like going to Germany, and that too in just your third year, and on your own. That is a big thing. So that motivates a lot of people to pursue things like these. And moreover, it's also motivating and knowledgeable for the third yearites who will be joining in soon as interns. So you put out really good points, and yes, you've answered my question pretty well, Amrit. So
I hope.
yeah, you definitely have. So, Amrit, if you'd like to summarize or your most important learnings as an SD intern at AWS Journey, what would be those? And I guess as you've talked about your work there, I guess it involves a lot of core computer science concepts, I hope. So, what are your most important learnings as an SD intern?
Hmm.
Good question.
Yeah. So number one is, as a good SD. So I'll be telling the learnings that I had. So this may or may not apply to your specific case or someone who is watching, right? Because the role may be different. For me, number one was mentorship. Follow the mentor. If he or she has been assigned to you, there was some thought process behind that, and do follow all the advice that mentors give. And when they see that you are able to run on your own, they will set you free. But for the beginning, this I made this mistake. I was quite full of myself when I joined Amazon Germany, and I wasted some initial time because I didn't listen much to my mentor and started try to figure out everything for myself, which obviously wasted time. Number one thing. Number two is code reviews. For SDEs, code reviews are super important. I know being in academics and um right now studying courses, you don't get to see how software development projects work. And I'm sure when you join some internships, even in startups and big corporations, there will be set workflow of how different development strategies are. We got a hint about it in software engineering course, third year, but for software development, how to write a code review, how to put your message forward in the best case possible. So at PEC ACM, we'll be trying this out when we'll be dividing students into different projects mentored by seniors, right? Because the seniors will be monitoring your progress only by the code reviews and the amount of the quality of code that you have pushed. And then the third thing was this code quality of the code and technical debt. So I didn't know about this concept before. For an SDE, technical debt is really important. Technical debt means there are some compromises that you make right now, which later on affects a product or a service. For example, you see that right now a library exists in Python 2.7, and it will ease your work and you create that product in Python 2.7. But what happens 1 year later? Python 2.7 is deprecated, the support is removed, and now you start getting security issues. And now this is the technical debt that could have been mitigated before, but is now bare for anyone to exploit, right? This is a technical debt. The third learning. The fourth learning is knowing the company's mission, vision, and the culture. So this is, I think, really important, at least also for interviews, because if you show them that you are aware of the company's culture and their mission in the interviews itself, that paints a clearer picture, and that resonates you with the interviewer. So, for example, in Amazon's case, I the I went through the Amazon's leadership principles, wrote down different I wrote down different scenarios from my own life which highlighted those leadership principles, and then I sneaked them into my interviews answers, so that later on I got to know when I went inside Amazon that they evaluated a person on those leadership principles only. So whenever I would tell a scenario, they would just tick mark those LPs, and once I had enough LPs in my profile, the interview I passed those interviews. And then when I joined in, those LPs came really in handy, and they are also super nice to have in life as well. So if you're watching, you want to go, just type on Amazon LPs on Google and you'll find it. So this was the fourth thing, the mission, vision, and the company's culture, right? And the final thing, taking rest for an SDE. It's really important. For a weekend, just before COVID, the March was my February to March was the most hectic month. After COVID hit, we all went to like lockdown. I it, Even Amazon internally, Jeff sent a mail. Bezos sent a mail to all the employees that we are experiencing that instead of 8 hours a day, people are putting in 10, 12 hours a day because people are at home. They have nothing else to do. Computers, you have the internet connection, and the effects started showing up in the quality of the work that employees were doing and their mental health, right? So it's really important to take rest. So for at least for me, it was right after restrictions started lifting. I made it a point that every weekend I should be in a different country, and then every Friday night I would just take a bus or a train to a different location, and then that helped me remove a lot of work-related thoughts from my mind and see the world in all its glory. And oh man, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I guess PEC ACM Student Chapter will soon have a video log where you, Amrit, you talk about your experiences at at Europe. Yeah,
No,
pretty
no, no,
good
no.
stuff.
I don't think they can be broadcasted in a SFW manner. But anyway,
Yeah, I guess we let's just move on to the next question, Amrit, shall we? So,
yes.
now, Amrit, Now, this is some question related to another amazing part of your profile, which is your participation in competitions. So, this is something important that I guess when people get into first year, second year, they should actively seek out. So, tell us about the importance of both of the competitions you've been in, the ACM ICPC, which you reached the national level still, and about the IEEE Delhi Section Hackathon, which you won. So talk to us about them and guide the students of first and second year who are watching this as to how do they approach competitions and what is the importance of being a part of competitions, and how perhaps did it help you in your internships and gaining your skills.
Yeah. So if you have that ICBC tag on your profile, it said that it adds weight to your profile, as it's one of the it's the leading competitive coding challenge in the world. So there are certain competitions which recruiters look for because it's easier for them to forward a candidate's profile, because they know that that test is difficult and the person has participated in that competition or won something. So that is one thing if you're eyeing the interview. Secondly, it's that when you participate in competitions, uh, at least for me, I find myself in a grounded position, because otherwise my friends will tell you that many a times I'm very full of myself, and the competitions are used to ground me, to present a reality check on myself, right? And that helps me to at least have the data of where I need to improve. For example, in ICBC, if I'm not clearing the competitive rounds, I know this is the skill I need to do. For developmental hackathons, if I'm not able to build an app which with the requirements, then that means that I have to work on my developmental skills. So that is the second thing. If you want to improve your own, I would say, uh, grooming and mental stability, competitions are really nice. But I also think many people take it the other way as well. If they don't win one, they might see it as a loss. But I'm sure as life moves on, as semesters move on, you see that competitions are a nice way to help us understand ourselves. And third, and the most fun thing, is that at least when Corona subsides, competitions are really fun. To go to a different college or in our own college even, and stay up the night, develop a thing, and then all the experiences. For example, this IEEE Delhi hackathon that we were fortunate enough to win. It was a 26-hour long hackathon where we were having 28 competitive coding questions. So in those 26 hours, we knew that these teams were not sleeping, and we couldn't sleep as well. We had to churn out and answer the problems. And when in about 24 to 25th hour, that's when I saw my own brain's limit, that that was a totally new territory. After that, I try to take my brain to that sort of uncharted territory once in a month. It may be through brain exercises or through physical exercise, right? And that's where I really get to know myself. And in IEEE Delhi Hackathon, there are so many fond memories that you have with your friends. For example, last year on this day, I was in Amritapuri. We were having banquet dinner organized by Amritapuri University, and it was the music was playing in the cool breeze was flowing, and it's near the ocean, so it wasn't that cool. It wasn't that cold over there. It was warm, and then when cold breeze, we were sitting on the lawn, having the all the leisures of life, knowing that next day is the ICPC competition, and we need to work really hard. But that was quite a fun experience. So I would recommend being in college offers a lot of opportunities that non-college or non-university students do not have. So please use it to the utmost brink of it. Take every opportunity, try it out. Take risks, man. If I did have taken the risk of going to triple IT and leaving those internships behind, my life would have been totally different. So I really hope that everyone participates in competitions, even including our own PEC ACM competitions that will be taking place in January and February, including those bi-weekly code battles. That 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 sort of competitive thing helps us in improving our skills continuously.
Good points, amazing points, Amrit. So this again prompts the question to put it more into perspective. When and how often should our first and second yearites and even third or fourth yearites participate in hackathons and competitions? When and how frequently?
When and how frequently? I think it mostly depends on the availability of contests. Right now in COVID era, I don't know how many contests are there. We can actually do that work, Nishant. We can tell the EB to search out different competitions that people can work in. And
Definitely.
I would say right from the first year, I think now PECFest is happening. I don't know, it's happening online. TechFest is happening. IIT Bombay's TechFest. They do have an ongoing computer science competitions, so you can check out their websites. So for I would say start participating in first year itself. Why wait?
Yeah.
At least next year we will come with more experience and more vigor and more learning. Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense, pretty much. So, now all of this discussion goes on to a point that first year rights would relate to more so and second year rights as well. So these require some kind of skill set, right, Amrit? So and well, you've been very active in project building and you've done pretty good and a good amount of projects. So talk to us about first of all skill building. How much time should one put in and in what way should one go about skill building, because most people think I should build a good amount of skill and then I'll try pursuing projects or hackathons or something. So what is your approach and what is your take on this so that people can get into project building and build efficient projects and moreover participate in hackathons or seek out internships because you require skills first of all.
Right, right. For projects, I would say ping your seniors, ask them what projects they are doing and if they can get you into their team. Also, uh, it's for second year rights at least. Do ask your professors if there are any ongoing projects where you can contribute. So this projects, when you do it under some mentorship, it helps alleviate a lot of the challenges that come with a uh, beginner level skill set, right? Because then you can be rest assured that there's a mentor to guide you through the project. So also skill building is an internal thing. It rests more on a person's own personality and own time management, right? I remember during my deep learning specialization, I classes were going on, but I had to wake up a bit early to cover the courses that I needed that were ongoing. So this skill building, once you are in a mentorship program, then you can get those skills quickly developed by using efficient time management skills and a lot of self motivation. So I remember for me, motivation videos on YouTube do not work. I spend around 30 minutes just watching motivational videos and it doesn't pan out. But then when I talk to someone from some of my friends from triple IT, or I just message some of my mentors, that's when I get motivation. It may change person to person, right? But yeah, skill building. And right now I think Unacademy is offering plus subscription to them. Also, there are online courses as well. So I don't think there's any barrier to this skill building per se. In just self, just self control. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also need to get back to the skill building thing. I've been too dormant for about 8 months now. which is the reason
Oh,
I'm doing those winter schools of ACM,
okay.
because I was too out of touch for those skill building thing. Good, you brought that up.
Now you're motivated to get back to work.
Yeah, yeah, man.
Thank me later, Amrit. Okay, so Amrit, now we'll move to something more related to our own student chapter. Now, for those who will see this later on as well, and for those who are watching this now, Amrit will be talking about what ACM is doing right now and how we plan to take it forward, and we'll build upon the things we've talked about here right now. So, Amrit, just in a short way, if you could just talk about your journey from a member to the chairperson, what you've seen, how ACM has progressed, and what level it has reached right now, and then take it forward with how you plan to take ACM as a whole organization together forward.
Yeah. So the journey was quite natural from a member to EB, just organize events, talking to seniors, making sure that the work that they do is done on time and learning new skills alongside. So that was quite natural. And I'm sure whoever joins in second semester who wants to, even freshers, even if they want to start contributing to society, not only as a member but as an organizing member as well, then that starts that natural progression course towards having more responsibilities in a society. And our at PEC ACM, our mission is to be the most impactful student chapter of the world. It's a big aim, and right now we are not there. We are not even in the top five of India. So that we are now, we were nowhere at about 1.5 years ago, but now at least we are in the top 10. We are also managing the is India ACM inter chapter communication. We were first to start many of the inter ACM chapters collaboration events. So we are now coming in the picture, and we are also one of the most active ACM ACM India student chapter for after the COVID started, because we were able to take many of our activities online, and anyone can check this by just typing in ACM local activities calendar and then search for PEC, and you can see the difference, relative difference in official approved events of ACM, of PEC ACM, as compared to other chapters. So that is one of the metric that we have for ourselves, where we measure our impact. Second is the students' feedback, which is a continuous process. So yeah, my vision is clearly mentioned in the mission itself. Apart from that, as our impact grows, our community will grow. It will have more alumni based in more and more better companies starting their own startups. They will be guiding and mentoring students of that time who are in college in PEC to achieve laurels in their own profession. This was also one of the major difference that I saw in triple IT. Over there, generalizing, at least for the those of or at least for my own friends at Triple IT, they did not shy away from messaging an alumni who maybe passed out 10 years ago from their college to ask for a doubt or to ask for how a company works, the company that they are presently in, what preparation should they do. They have this mentality over there, which we are now building over here also, and I see it happening, at least for my friends in fourth year, right? They are now approaching their seniors who are already in big companies, because a lot of big tech companies do come to PEC, and we have a strong base of alumni in of PEC in different companies, and we need to utilize that. I am also aware of the different initiatives our Department of Alumni Relations is doing, right? So you can get in touch with them as well if you want to approach an alumni. So that thing I want to build for via PAC ACM an alumni network of ourselves. When we graduate, we will help our juniors, and then the whole thing progresses.
Great
And by
points. I
help,
mean,
by help, I mean, uh, for example, I'm in Amazon. I see someone, a junior, messaging me on LinkedIn, and then I see their profile, and the junior asks me, "Sir, I want to be an intern in Amazon. What should I do? I need your reference to join as an intern," right? So it's a valid thing to ask. Do not shy away from it, right? But also make sure that firstly your profile is strong enough to ask for a reference. Those of you who do not know, reference means an employee in a company refers a candidate for a position. So that means that you generally means that you skip the coding rounds and go straight into the interviews, actual interviews, right? So I've seen at least in triple IT. I'm starting to seeing it here as well for the 2 years of seniors who are 2 years above me. They are referring a lot of students from fourth year, right, which with whom they have worked, right, especially in PEC ACM, and now they are referring them to for roles at their own companies. So it's a valid thing to ask, and I would say that do not shy away from it, but make sure that your profile is good enough. For me, I must let me tell you my experience when I asked one of our alumni who is currently a tech lead or a senior software engineer in Google Zurich. I just messaged him on LinkedIn that, sir, I need your reference to get into Google Zurich. And he said that that's not how it works. Firstly, you have to show me. This was in second year, so he refused for the reference. But then he guided me through different stages of preparation that I need to do to be able to get a reference or the role. And then I followed that thing, and then just this August, uh, while I was in Switzerland in Zurich, he invited me for a lunch at his home, and so he was quite happy about that as well, and me as well. I was also happy that even if he didn't give me the reference, he put me on a direct path where I would not even need a reference, right? So that was a fun thing.
yeah, great points, Amrit. I mean, we've focused way too much on, and which actually requires focus, the importance of networking and communication. So, Amrit, okay, so before we conclude, Amrit, just talk about your plans to take ACM forward, and and what is in store for everyone as we move towards
Yes,
2021, and what
yes,
can
yes.
they expect from the student chapter?
Sorry, I didn't answer that. My mind is like a RAM. Things are just coming out and then wiping off. So for PACACM, this new students who have just joined, you will be getting a link to Slack and you'll join the Slack channels. After that, we are still in the planning phases of the workshops. We are a bit short on the our human resources here because some of our EB members have exams. After that, in January, your workshops will start happening, and we're also because your unacademy course is also going on. So for the freshers, at least, we are waiting for it to cover a certain point, and then so at least you have that amount of knowledge, and then we can progress it further, right? So firstly, are the workshops. Initially, we'll be focusing more on algorithmic thinking, building, and data structures, so that we have the mathematical tools needed for the computer science. After workshops, we'll be starting with small events beginning from end of January. Uh, they will be competitive events where, based on the knowledge for that you've gained in the workshops, these events include obviously code battles. Then there are online data science, machine learning events, which are mostly more targeted towards second and third year rights. Then there are also cybersecurity events, which Nishant only is manages, and I will be talking to him afterwards. How will that happen after he leaves us for Microsoft? So there are
Definitely.
after events there are projects. So right now we are gathering the data of the fourth year right who are doing some of the projects of their own and who are willing to take in juniors. Similarly, after that data, we'll be uh, getting in touch with our third year members who will be on internships, and the amount of time that they can put in towards collaboratively developing a project for with juniors. So we'll be putting out a form so that by the end of your first semester, I want every PEC ACM fresher to at least have a project on GitHub, a good standalone project that you can show on your GitHub profile. After project, the last thing is events like this, which are more of networking event, which grow the reach of PEC. Like we had professors from Norway and uh, the student club lead from Google. So these kind of things increase our reach and increase our visibility in the whole tech space. So these will be continuing as well.
All right, pretty fantastic stuff. And we'll have even more of Talking Tech podcast, as Amrit said, where we try bringing in more and more people. So for those who are new to this channel, you can see our previous podcast. We've had Ujjwal Kumar, who is an excellent hacker. We've had Ishan Vora, who is a game developer. Um, and we've had Gaurav Arora, who is an alumnus of our own college, who is the creator of a really important library which involves natural language processing and machine learning and artificial intelligence. So do check those out on our own YouTube channel. So Amrit, on a conclusive note, so first of all, now everyone knows Amrit has a lot of these qualities, and the fact that you have a really good grade point is even better. And Amrit is giving me that smirk. But okay, so Amrit, where do you find time to manage all of this? And as we conclude this session and open the questions to the audience, so for the audience, if you have questions, you can just ask them. If you've asked them above and they have been lost in the chat, you can just copy and ask them again. So before we conclude, Amrit, just how do you manage all your time, and what are some final pieces of advice that you'd like to give to our viewers who watch this right now or later on?
Okay. So my time management strategy is based on the simple algorithm that I have a list of tasks to do every morning, and then I assign a weight between 1 to 10 to each task, and then was just order them on the basis of priority, and then just do those tasks. I must say, in a good day, I'm able to complete 70% of them. Uh, there have only been about 3 to 4 days when I completed 100% of them, because I try to make those tasks more than what is required, minimum base requirement, right? So that's how but that's the base time management strategy. Also, one of the things that I'm learning now is how to avert myself from distractions. Firstly, knowing what a distraction is while it's going on, and then how to have that mental power to avert those distractions. For example, Nishant, let me tell you, my thumb has now muscle memory of where Instagram is on my phone. I just open it, and then my thumb automatically goes to Instagram, and I find myself scrolling, mindless, thoughtless. So I've now changed the position of Instagram to a new place, and now thankfully I'm not opening Instagram where when I don't need to. So these are small little things that I'm currently working on. I will probably make a document of all these things that I learned from my own experience only, of how to avoid distraction. And final piece of advice, right? For first year, uh, right now focus on your CG buddies. Yeah, it's easy to get some nice CGPA in your first year relative to second year, third year. So build your CGPA right now, and for second year, it's take take calculated risks. Learn to just type on YouTube how risk management strategies for profession or career. So take risks. Otherwise, you may or because what happens is when we take risks, we start exposing ourselves to a lot more opportunities, which increases our chances of getting those opportunities. And many people say that luck plays a huge part in getting an internship. It does. It plays a part, but I don't think it's huge because I believe that of course, we cannot control our luck, but we can control the amount of opportunities that we expose ourselves to. And then probability increases of getting an opportunity, and hence you can say that we can get lucky in that sense. So second, right, take chances, take risks, calculated risks for with your career, explore new things, ping your seniors or alumni, start preparing for your internships, summer internship after second year, right now only, and then in third year, beginning year, third years, sorry, fifth semester, you will be having your internships play and internship season uh, on time as usual. For third year I would say, as you guys are joining the internship, go through your software development course. Also look at, I think there was a course for technical communication as well, right,
Yeah,
Nishan?
yeah,
Yeah, there was one. So number one is software development course. Uh, as I think Professor Bhatia has taught it, at least for me, quite well because I had seen though I did not do software engineering course before internship. So that was also a pain point for me because my mentor was using some words which I didn't even know about. So when studying SDE software development course, I got to now all of that past things make sense, right? So it is able to survive and get an offer without knowing software development uh, theory, but it's way better because when third year when you will be sitting with your manager, with your mentor, you will be discussing the project that you are going to do, and then when you'll be making the strategy and you'll be asking the right questions which are part of those requirement gathering and requirement analysis phases of the software development life cycle, you'll present yourself as an intelligible person who is aware of the different methodologies of software development world, right? So that's really important. Software development course and technical communication. If you see that you are not good at technical communication and you want to improve yourself, the best thing to do is just set up a meeting with your friends and ask them to just sit and listen while you communicate a technical topic to them, right? And if you are feeling too vibrant, you can also contact PEC ACM and we'll put you on some podcasts that Nishant
definitely.
hosts.
Definitely we can. And I guess PEC ACM as we move forward would try its best to encourage these type of capabilities, as in where you interact more so that so that you can be able to communicate your ideas better and communicate whatever you feel better. So I guess PEC ACM would, as we move forward, work in that direction. So that pretty much, Amrit, wraps up whatever questions I had for you. And even though this has been a long interview, this has been a fantastic interview with a lot of important information for everyone out there. So
I
as
hope.
it definitely has. So as this is open to chat, open to questions from the chat. If anyone has any questions, then please do ask. I'll scroll through the chat. And Amrit, you can also scroll through the chat and see what.
I
Uh,
see a lot of our EB members are answering questions. Nice. I see Nishant, Ankit, they're answering questions. So these are the guys, freshers that you will be out of PEC in a few months, and these will be your mentors mainly.
yeah,
So
I
do we have a question?
I guess so. Some of these questions are
How to
basically
work
what
for
can we
long hours?
expect from ACM as a fresher? I guess that was answered. For
I
how
see.
many semesters?
I see
Yeah,
one
go on,
question:
Amit.
how to work for long hours, 7 to 8 hours in a stretch. This is a really nice question, Nishant. I think you will find it yourself as well in your Microsoft intern. That for program when we are developing some big software, depending on your project, you'll be having to sit for a long durations of time with some thoughts in your mind that are needed so that basically you'll have to have high amount of RAM in your mind to process a problem. right? So this thing of long working hours, I've seen people who are not good SDEs, some of my friends, but they are able to sit at a problem for a long duration of time and think it out. So that's a good thing. So person who asked this question, you can try going back to your routine for JE mains, the time that you put in, but instead have different set of books and have different set of uh, resources in front of you on the screen, right? And just sit with a problem in mind and then try to solve that problem. This is a really good habit to be able to sit for long hours pondering over a problem. Now, this does mean that you have to take breaks after about 40 to 45 minutes, but in your mental space, the problem persists for a long time.
Yeah, good points. I mean, I guess I also need to incorporate a good amount of this for myself to sit on long hours
We all do,
for my
man.
own work.
I cannot stay without Instagram for 3 hours. So we all need to do that.
Yeah, well, you are an influencer. Why should you stay without stay on for a while, Amrit?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay. Do we
so
have more questions?
we have questions related to just how to be more productive and is Python good for competitive coding and some specific amount of time a fresher should study. So any
Okay.
recommendations on that before we
Being
wrap up this stream?
Yeah, being more productive is firstly this is what I use. I don't know if it'll work for you or not, but this is my idea. So, firstly, in computer science, there's a rule called uh, you can't improve something that you don't measure. So, for productivity, we have to firstly measure the amount of work that we are doing and the impact that it generates. It means, personally, I just create an Excel sheet, then uh, for a major work. For small little tasks, I create a mental map so that I keep track of the stuff that I need to do. So being productive, first step would be to keep track of all the things that you need to do, write them down, and then eventually they will. Once you have the data, then you will see that where you can be more productive in your own schedule. So that's the first step. Start tracking your own productivity. Second is Python good for competitive. Most of the competitive coders use C++. I personally use C++ for coding, for competitive coding. And as freshers are being taught Python in their first semester, so right now ACM CSS will be going forward with that in by January end. In the last week of January, we will be gauging the interest of students for C++ and the amount of knowledge that students already have, and then we'll be probably this is not sure for sure, but probably there will be a shift from Python to C++ for comparative coding workshops in of ACM CSS, because C++ is really useful also while teaching the concepts of data structures and algorithms in workshops as compared to Python.
Definitely. So I hope that has wrapped up most of the questions we have from the audience. And I guess that is it. So, Amrit, this has been a fantastic session. I personally would replay this to gather the important points you told about as you go into internships, what
You don't
things that
need
you
to
need to focus
replay.
on.
You can just call me anytime, Ishan.
Yeah, I definitely can, but I also want to see the podcast again. Yeah, so
Okay.
you've made some really good points, Amrit, and I feel that as we move forward, more and more people would keep joining ACM and keep aligning with its mission and learn a lot from the mentors like you and improve themselves and improve the whole society in this way. So thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, giving us your time, Amrit, today, and having this session with us. And that is it, everyone. So, thank you so much for viewing this podcast. If you like our content, do remember to subscribe to our channel and like this video and share it with other people that you know. And that is it
Do we
for
have
today.
Patreon yet?
Yeah.
Do we have Patreon yet?
No, we don't have a Patreon yet, but I guess
Okay.
we'll have it soon. Maybe. Who knows? Okay, so
Okay.
that is it from our side, everyone. Thank you so much and have a fantastic day ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you.